What kink did you think you had until you tried it? NSFW. Getting face-ed. I can deep throat like a champ on my own. But as soon as he starts vigorously face-eyeing me like I always thought I'd like, it's like 3 thrusts and my gag reflex goes no. 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 Having sex in front of a bunch of people. My ex and I were with 2 friends at a bar and it was almost last call. I wasn't ready to call it a night. And being drunk, I jokingly threw out the idea of going to this swingers club I had heard of. My girlfriend and her friends were surprisingly into the idea. So, we'd go to this club and I thought it would be a lot of couples. Ended up being about 60 dudes. 2 or 3 girls. My girlfriend and her friends and myself. The club was actually pretty cool. My girlfriend and I went in a private room and went at it, then we went to a room that was a room with a ton of windows. Literally every person in the club watched my girlfriend and I go at it. Along with her friends just sitting and watching. I thought it was weird as in kind of gross, but my girlfriend and her friends were really into it and she always asked to go back. Pretty much anything that I have seen in the fetish PRN section. I realized that I am actually a really vanilla guy who just enjoys watching weird once in a while. I had a whip fetish. I endured a whipping without a safe word and regretted it right away. Never do anything kinky without a safe word. Getting choked out. I'm a dude. I somehow thought that busting a nut while on the verge of passing out would lead to a military grade nut. My GF was skeptical but humored me. Long story short, getting choked out ain't it, chief? Dirty mean talk. When I was with my ex, I wanted him to call me and the like. He did. And I cried. I always thought I'd enjoy guys being more dominant and forceful until when I was in my teens. I was sitting in an overgrown riverbank facing forward with my boyfriend sitting behind me. His legs either side of mine. Suddenly he decided to choke me from behind. Without asking. And when I freaked, his excuse was that he wanted to test if I was into that kind of thing. If that hadn't happened I might have enjoyed it in a consensual manner, but that one experience was so terrifying I'd never even be down for trying it again. I thought I was into girls that scratched you and bit you. I mean, I'm still into girls that bite, but I was dating a girl in high school and she was big into scratching. I really should have seen the signs that she wasn't going to be gentle. She was just this cute, tiny girl. I was half a foot taller. Bigger and tough. No way she could hurt me. Right. Nope. Dead wrong. I like to think I have a pretty high pain threshold, but she enjoyed hurting me. She'd scratch me up hard when we were making out. She'd get carried away and I didn't want to seem like a wuss, so I didn't say anything about. My back looked like I'd been attacked by a raccoon. Pegging. I thought I was super into it and my ex loved when I played with his butt anyway, just grabbing it, nothing inside, so he bought me a strap-on. Well, I wanted to warm him up first so I didn't tear his ass apart, but the second I spread his cheeks I got a whiff of his ass and almost vomited all over him. That's the guy's fault for being gross. Who doesn't wash their ass if they expect but stuff? Nasty. Shower sex. I slipped and made us both fall. The water washes out the lubricant fluids too. Isn't that nice? A lot of these horror stories could be avoided with a little bit of an enema and a sex towel. Don't underestimate the power of a sex towel. I'd love to see the opposite quote. What kink did you think you hadn't until you tried it? F here. Riding my partner like a real champ. Felt amazing. I was feeling a little extra hot and I told him to slap me across the face. He did. And I instantly burst into tears. Swinging cucking. Trying to give some guy's wife the dipstick while he watches in the corner. Feeding the geese. Is a lot more stress inducing than pleasurable. Feeding the geese. Jesus ducking Christ. I'd like to thank Urban Dictionary for helping understand 80% of these posts. Having someone grind me. My dick doesn't bend that many angles comfortably. Standing carry type SX. I could do it and I'm in pretty good shape, but I wouldn't exactly say it was enjoyable for either of us. I still want to try Amazon, but I think I'd rather just have cowgirl. I haven't seen open relationships posted yet, but that was a humbling experience. My ex and I decided to explore a bit and set up some profiles on Puff and FetLife. I figured since we were both looking for hookup partners, we'd match and find a couple that would be compatible. Nope. Like 3 minutes after our profiles went up, there was a penis explosion in her email inbox. I was like watching Niagara Falls, just with non-stop dick pictures. I'm not gay, but some of those dudes were chiseled and cute as. Like. Even I knew I was outclassed. I had like 2 messages and none turned into anything. We broke up shortly afterwards. Compatibility being an issue. Being tied up. I like it when my partner is tied, but I can't be. Just not as much as a turn on as I thought it would be. You can tie me up. For some reason a foot job always seemed hot, but in all my experiences none of them were good, and the risk of being accidentally kicked in the balls stressed me out. Thought I had a foot fetish until I actually tried playing with my girlfriend's feet. Turns out I just like how pretty feet look from a distance. Turns out I just like how pretty feet look from a distance. Burning. I had an ex who was really into burning with candle wax. Not the massage candles. Legit candle wax. Made a huge mess and burned a lot. I was fine with this, and even had a lot of fun. The problem is, she was a sadomasochist who loved causing pain. I am okay with this, but it led to one time where she poured candle wax over me while I was tied up. I have chest hair. This was all well and good at the time, and I didn't even mind that my hair would have to be ripped out later. In her excitement, she also decided it would be appropriate to put a freshly snuffed match against my frenulum. I would avoid this, and I do not recommend it. Since then I am not enticed or aroused by candle wax anymore. Frenulum. Ice cream. She got me nice and hard and then laid out scoops of ice cream around my tower of power. But that frozen dessert shrunk my balls, froze my cock, and then started melting down my ass crack, and pretty soon my ass was sticky. She tried her best to lick everything up, but that didn't make things any better. Worse was that it went on the bed sheets and we had to clean everything up, which took up all our day. No one got to come that day. Tower of power. Hell, I'm in here looking for new ideas. BDSM type play. I liked the idea of being called names like or bitch until my husband called me that, consensually, and I cried. Being slapped and called names and choked. I guess rough SX. I had SX with this one guy who was super into it, and he would choke way too hard and slap me across the face. Kept calling me a lying bitch and that I was nothing more than a dirty. He also spat on me during. I realized then I wasn't into it at all and cut things off. With my current partner though, he likes to choke me, but he doesn't apply pressure, just wraps his hands around my neck and he says things like "Sigh, I like that my dirty," and if I'm in the right mood, he only does it if I give the go ahead. I do quite enjoy it. P. Found a dude who was into it, and I spent years fantasizing about it. Spent about a month hanging around with him and involving P in various ways. Turns out it's just messy. I didn't dislike it, but I have no interest in doing it again. Still watch it in PRN though. I'll bite and comment. Outdoor SX. I absolutely loved outdoor SX in fantasy. In reality, the beach is super cold and windy. Blankets are hard to keep on. Bums walk up to you randomly even though you swear no one was around. Sand. Sand everywhere. Non-erotic walk back to car. Disgruntled going home. Hopefully not a night killer. In the woods is pleasant at first, but then the bug bites start. The cold nips your skin. Bark is rather rough and has ants. Feeling secluded yet not isolated, always wondering if someone will walk by. Splinters. Rocks that are pointy, jabbing into random parts of your body trying to do positions. Wild animals around. Other than that, the kink I'd say is nipple clamps. Thought they were more erotic than the painful they turned out to be. Kinda basic. But the daddy little girl kink. I love being dominated. But Jesus Christ. It felt so degrading, not in a good way, and creepy, acting like a ditzy child who needed approval to do everything. Not to insult anybody who's into it. But yeah. Realized it wasn't for me after all. Gangbang. Definitely not working out in my favor. Agreed. I didn't actively dislike it. But 4 dudes jerking semi-hard cocks watching you is a little weird. I was mostly shocked by the lightheartedness and jovial atmosphere. You want a turn in her ass? Sure. Thanks man, absolutely. Let me get out of the way. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Glad my first gold was about a gangbang. When the whole thing was wrapping up, the chick was on her knees with everyone jerking off into her face, and one guy almost blew his nut on my shoe, and I said something to the effect of "watch the shoes man." To which everyone, her included, started cracking up. Just to further illustrate the jovial atmosphere. I was super into jerking off while wearing a skirt, and when my girlfriend found out, she was kind of into the idea of me eyeing her while wearing a skirt because she was bisexual, her words. Not my assumption, but it didn't really work for either of us. Then again, I think we might not have been sexually compatible or just inexperienced, because I also thought I didn't like blowjobs until my next girlfriend sucked my dick, and it was a revelation. I'm someone who was cheating on her boyfriend. We were FWB before. But then she got a boyfriend. A few weeks later, she still contacted me. Going at her place. I thought it was hot. But then all I kept thinking about was him and how he was probably in love with her. And how crushed his heart would be if he knew. There's nothing SI or phantasmagorical about that. I thought. I had a panic attack. Left. Cut contact with her. And now I just feel dirty. Every bit deserved though. It. I realized it after the deed. I'm not good, but I learned from my mistakes. Pegging and milking. It was f***ing exhausting. I felt like, why haven't you come already? I'm bored. After an hour of licking. Positions. Thrusting. Titillizing the taint. Spanking. Fingering. Crisco. Blah. 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 I felt blessed as a woman and had a new respect for the endurance people had to get me off. Dot. Even if you're cool with it during the act, the second you get off you realize you're just covered in. And if you're like me, you try it again just to be sure and want to bang your head into a wall because you can never be on it on. Male female threesome. Turns out I'm deaf, not into girls, haha. That must have been awkward for the 2 girls. I don't know if it's a kink, per se, because it's kind of mainstream. But threesomes just aren't as fun as I thought. The pressure to make sure everybody was having a blast kind of ruined it for me. Don't want anybody to feel left out. You know? Welcome to Bring a Dungeon Master. Outdoor SX. Got a 2-inch splinter of wood shoved right up my ass cheek. That is. Blowjob with a little teeth. Lol, noped out of that quickly. Banging a hot juglet, rare, is not worth the sifting you have to go through to get there. Oh god. I knew some jugglets, which is rare in Nick, and honestly it just looked like the Honey Boo Boo family went goth clown. Some water sports stuff is cool, but more often just awkward in practice. Attempting to drink urine was a big regret. Username unsurprising. Being called daddy. First time banging this girl I met at the bar, she goes right into me daddy. I always thought it would be hot to hear, but nope. Instant boner kill. My mind immediately went to oh. She might have some serious issues. Turns out I was right too. I once got called daddy's little girl. It would be less worrying if I wasn't a guy. Edit. My first ever reward. Thank you, kind daddy. I thought I would be into choking. I already like to be lightly spanked and act like bratty sub. I thinks it's funny to be annoying lol. So I just thought it would have been a natural step in my kinks. Didn't like it one bit. Nothing bad really happened. No freak accident. Just got turned off real quick. Once hooked up with a girl who said that she likes to be choked. I was kind of a mild boy, but was like, okay, if that's your thing. The moment I saw her eyes as I was grasping her neck, I thought, holy, she really likes that, and that turned me on AF. Also, it's nice to be lightly choked when being treated. Gonna be a lot of poop in this thread if this post takes off. Posting has always been very popular. F here. Sleep SX. I'd go pantyless when sleeping out of comfort, but I also gave my boyfriend the go ahead to me if he wanted. Didn't bother with foreplay. Just his dick. I wasn't prepped and it didn't feel great. Another partner kissed my hot spot when he wanted it in the morning whilst I was asleep. And it made a difference. Having a willing, of course, SX slave. I thought it would be hot as hell to have a naked girl in the apartment following my every command. In the end though, it just felt awful. Instead of suck my own dick bitch, it was suck my dick now. If you want to. Please? This is always my problem. I can tell my partner enjoys it when I degrade her. And because she enjoys it I want to do it. But I'm just so bad at being mean to her, lol. Cuckolding. Thought it would be hot to watch my best friend have sex with my boyfriend. It most definitely wasn't hot. Just heartbreaking. I knew girl in her ass. Semicolon. When I pulled out, she let loose a wave of all over her parents' couch. I puked on her. She puked on the couch. It was like we were doing a two-person performance of The Aristocrats. Semicolon. The smell. Easy. Milk BDSM. Semicolon. Went through a bad breakup. Went to pick myself up via sleeping around. Slept with an recently ex-pregnant girl who was into BDSM. Hurt and I was uncomfortable. And don't get me started on the milk. Disgusting. And it got all over. Had a long cry after that one. I still gag when I think about it. So you cried over spilled milk? Had a long cry after that one. I thought I was bi until I sucked dick and now I'm gay. Ah yes. The good old be now gay later that I hear about. Anime body pillow. Doesn't feel real enough. Who would have thought? Pegging. Men's buttholes are just so weird looking, and because it wasn't my penis so I didn't feel anything. Wasn't what I thought it would be. He ended up ting on my bed. It kinda blows my mind how many people don't realize you gotta do a bit of cleaning down there before you go spelunking. I thought I would like female domination, so my girlfriend tied me up and just started beating the crap out of me. She hit my cock with a whip and it started bleeding so bad I had to go to the emergency room. Jesus dude. Start slow. Don't decide you wanna learn to fly and start with a iron fighter jet. Not sure if this qualifies as a kink, but, like many people, I once thought that bigger was better in the penis department. And then I slept with a few people who had big dicks. 1. How? 2. Freaking OW. No thanks. Not into it. Now I'm with a guy who fits me perfectly, in a physical sense. Although we're compatible in other ways too. And it's the best sex I've ever had. Not too big. Not too small. Just right. Goldilocks and the 3 dicks. I really thought I was into having someone pee on my face. Unfortunately, the angle was wrong and it went up my nose. Burned like hell and tasted awful. Who else here has an incredibly boring sex life and is just reading the responses for fun? Thank you for the silver. Kind stranger. I've had several times I'm so turned on I want to come and eat my own cum. But once I actually get off, that desire disappears instantly. Once I tried it out of curiosity and a simple lick was enough to verify that it's not for me. Choking. I can't tell if this is a joke, but if it's not, goddamn. Public places. It was great until I became very aware of the dozens of people watching us and the security coming our way. We went to the car and finished up there. Still 8/10. Would try again. Me and my girlfriend were getting dirty one night. She's into dirty talking, choking, hair pulling, stuff like that. And I told her to suck my dick and she smugly goes nope, and I put my hand around her throat and said, "Did you tell me no?" 3-way with 2 women. I was with a couple of friends demonstrating some massage techniques I was learning. Clothes came off and things started to get excited. Somehow I ended up with one riding my lap and the other riding my face. Friend on my face started coming. So she grabbed my hair real hard and rode my face like there was no tomorrow. At the same time, a friend decided it was a great time to stick her finger up my butt. She started to come and rode me hard as well, gyrating her hips all over the place. Felt like she was going to rip my dick off. Her hard riding and finger jabbing got me coming. All while I was practically suffocating in a mixture of PSSY juice and hair. I ended up pooping blood for weeks. My jaw was hurting for a while. And my pelvis felt bruised. I don't see what went wrong here. I had a massive public but discreet sex kink as a teenager. My first real GF, and I couldn't really get alone time to because her mom was homophobic and hated that I was making her daughter gay or whatever, so it kind of worked out that we tried to in public places. We went on a date to the mall together and she tried to get me to eat her out in the family bathroom. I was too anxious and people kept knocking really hard on the door. When we came out there was a line of people going around the corner. Didn't realize it was Black Friday. We pretended like I was sick and had been throwing up in there. I was 16 and my anxiety disorder was much more intense, so it wasn't far off from the truth. But damn. Never again. Entire crowd of judgmental, head off people staring at you will kill a kink for good. 69 Very awkward despite not having any significant size difference between our bodies. When we finally figured out some least awkward position, we understood that it just doesn't work for both of us at the same time. If I pleasure her well, she cannot concentrate on pleasuring me and vice versa. I was messing around with an ex-partner in the school restrooms, classy, who at some point decided to lean into my ear and start talking dirty, which I initially liked. But as soon as daddy came out of their mouth it was like every cell in my body recoiled. Like no, this is not happening, you are not calling me this, nope. Thanks to my current boyfriend, I've figured out that I do enjoy calling people daddy, but I don't like others calling me it at all. Bit dark. But I always had a thing for non-consensual sex. Some handsome stranger couldn't resist me and just used me. Turns out, it's not a handsome stranger who does that to you. Doing chores. I, lesbian, thought I was top and had some bondage kink. The idea of another girl tied up and me having power to do anything to her made me kinda horny. Year ago I met dom girl who wanted me tied up. She had me with a strap on, slapped me and left me breathless without a way to move, and I realized I was the tied up girl in my fantasies. It was a long time ago. But swinging. Turns out I'm hardwired to be a one girl guy that doesn't share so well. I never went through with it. And sure about her. But we had been together for 3-ish years and never recovered. Actually 3 disappointed people. I'm a woman. Body worship with a man. I like both men and women. But women's bodies are just different. I think straight dudes are pretty comfortable with the concept of women being hotter than men. I had a friend in community college who found out she didn't like guys in a threesome. The 2 guys also found out in that threesome that they were gay. I believe they ended up dating. Spanking with a belt or paddle. I like to see the results on PRN and such, but actually having it done to me is a total turn off. I know the idea is for it to hurt, but damn it freaking stings, and with it going one after the other. It's just not pleasant. Guy on guy action. Gay PRN always turned me on. And I had the good fortune of my ex being bi and open for a MMF. They interacted. and I realized it didn't do anything for me. Had a few weeks with a nympho. Yeah, not fun. For a moment there I mixed up nympho for necrophiliac and I was having a whole different scenario playing out in my head. I'm happy they weren't a necro. Everyone thinks sex all day is fun until your penis hurts and you have to tell them don't come over again cause you really don't want to have sex. Yeep. Everyone thinks an nympho is amazing until they actually deal with one. Then they realize it's a goddamn mental disorder and not really fun to deal with for either party. Friend of mine has it. Thankfully not super bad. She's managed well with some medication to adjust her hormone levels. But before she got diagnosed and got help she was the definition of a hot mess. Shower sex. My wife is a foot shorter than me and it's such a task trying to line things up in an awkward position while steaming hot water runs over you. You just wind up sweating. Out of breath. And because of the discomfort it takes forever.